Kristen Roberts. I am the Director of Institutional Compliance and Privacy. I've been at Auburn about 11 years and in institutional compliance 6. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about a new law that came down last summer, acting like on behalf of Auburn University as well as the institute. So I have with me colleagues Ed Youngblood. He's a professor in the College of Liberal Arts. And he's been studying this area, this digital accessibility, for over 15 years. And then Mark Bransby is in the Office of Information Technology, and he's a digital accessibility specialist, and has also been working in this area over 15 years. So we're going to share our expertise with you today, and then feel free to ask some questions. So the DOJ updated Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act last summer, and said that we have to make all of our online resources accessible to people with disabilities. And they specified the technical standard as WCAG, which is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 AA standards. So this is the first time that they have declared, this applies to online material as well as our public spaces, right? We've always had to make our spaces and programs, activities accessible to people with disabilities. And we kind of just waited on people to request accommodations, and then we provided it, what they needed. Now it's more proactive. As soon as we post something online, it's got to be able to be read by a screen reader, or be able to access it with assistive technology. So it's very broad. This covers all of our websites, applications, mobile and software, courses, digital presentations, even our social media posts. So we just kind of have to think about things a little bit differently before we just put something up on the website or send out an email.
Presentations in your classes.
Yeah.
Group projects. And then, of course, the minutes from this meeting, the presentation from this meeting.
Yeah, very good examples. So here's just a sampling of the sites and applications and vendors that are affected. So any of our Instagram posts, our Auburn app, Adobe products, Microsoft products, Canvas, Salesforce, any of these are just a few examples. So think about, your student organization websites, your social media posts, your email blasts to members, recruiting students, all of that applies. There's a few exceptions. So if the content was created prior to the enforcement date, which is April 24th of 2026, we don't have to go back and fix everything that's ever existed on our social media accounts and websites. But if we are currently directing people to that, to apply or to get information or to register and pay, those systems need to be accessible. So we need to be thinking about that and checking. Content posted by a third party is another exception. So that as people comment on your social media posts, we don't have to make their comments accessible. So it's only what we control. And then lastly, individualized documents that are password protected open. So this is, again, very narrow. Think of your e-bill for financial services. If they're sending you your invoice and you have to log in or something like that, then that document doesn't have to be. So it's a pretty narrow exception. So if we don't do this, we could face reputational harm, lawsuits. The DOJ could come investigate, or private individuals could sue if they have a disability and can't access our programs, activities, and services, and potential loss of federal funding. So not good. We want to make sure we're being proactive and meeting this compliance requirement. All right, so what we have to do is make a good faith effort to meet the WCAG standards and show that we're doing training and education, and people are aware of this and know what to do, addressing our major websites, think athletic ticketing, the Gouge, all of these places that the public is visiting to come and enjoy, what Auburn has to offer. So there's a few exceptions, if it would fundamentally alter the program or service or would cause undue financial burden. But again, these are going to be pretty hard burdens to overcome. So we just need to do it. We've got a task force of people working on this at the university because it's not any one person or office's job. So accessibility, the Video Center, institutional compliance, OIT, communications and marketing, equal opportunity compliance, general counsel, and liberal arts. So it really is a team effort. The idea is universal design. Okay, we design our spaces, think online spaces, where everyone can access them. Automatic doors and curb cuts were created for people with wheelchairs, but the mom with the stroller and the person with the bicycle and the person with the suitcase, everybody benefits from these modifications. So if we do the same thing online, we actually all benefit from the way that we design it. And the other thing to remember is that disabilities aren't always a permanent, lifelong thing. It may be situational. It may be temporary. You may be sick or have a new child or something like that where you may need an accommodation at that time. So if things are designed in a way that meets everyone's needs, then again, we all benefit. And that increases innovation, creativity, retention, engagement, and overall our reputation. So when we talk about the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, this is an international standard. There's a group called the World Wide Web Consortium that started the Web Accessibility Initiative, and this was actually started in the late 90s. So again, it's not new, it's developed over time as technology has changed and everything, but the current standard is 2.2, the law states 2.1. And if you go to the website, it's going to be pretty intimidating, it's just a bunch of text. And so what we try to do is break it down to like 10 things that you can do to make your content more accessible. And Ed's going to talk about that.
Thank you. So one of the things I want to mention when you're thinking about how do I make my material more accessible. How many of y'all do PowerPoint presentations? How many of you know that you can have PowerPoint auto caption your presentations? Yeah, so you can actually generate PowerPoint, have captions that'll come up on the screen. Are they completely accurate? Of course not. Does it make it easier for the people you're presenting to? Absolutely. You should learn how to use this. My bet is a lot of you are probably looking at after college going into jobs where you will be doing presentations. All these skills that we're talking about tonight are transferable. Accessibility is not going away, right? So, kind of a top 10, pay attention to text legibility. We'll look at the slide in a moment, but think about sans serif fonts. So you know how you think about like Times New Roman, it's got the little thingies that come off of it, right? Those are called serifs. They're really good at guiding the eye. They can make things harder to read. Your easiest to read text is going to be sans serif fonts like Arial, Aptos, things like that. Keep the font simple. Pay attention to color contrast. There's a great tool on the webaim.org website. They've got a color contrast checker. So if you've ever seen somebody do something where they've got light blue text on a dark blue background, you've seen that, right? You go, who the hell thought that was a good idea? Right. It gets even worse if you've got something like color blindness. So it's really important to have those high contrast text.
If you go through the slides, we have examples. So if you want to go ahead and click through, here's the font.
Okay.
Right, which was easier.
Yeah. So this is a great example of using sans serif. Go ahead and flip the next slide. Font size. You notice that 12 point on a PowerPoint is really hard to read. 24 point, much easier. Pay attention to that. These are also, I've taught design. These are also just good design standards. Right, okay, alignment, spacing. By the way, slide deck is going to be available. I encourage you to go back and look at it. Alignment and spacing, left align text. I know people go, oh, center line text, it looks so nice, and it's also really hard to read. If you've got more than like 1 or 2 lines, left align that. 1.5 line spacing to keep things from shrinking. Keep things short, concise, and chunk. In other words, don't write like a professor. Right? We don't like reading the journal articles. The good ones are easy to read. Be really careful about the use of bold and italics. Screen reader, so for somebody who's visually impaired is using a computer, a lot of times they're going to rely on a screen reader, or they'll have, and that may be voice, or it may translate it to Braille. When it says bold, it says bold. And you want it to show up and just be used where you need it. Right? If you want something kind of bold, but you're not worried about semantic markup, and that somebody knows it's bold, that's what CSS is for, those of you that are kind of into web design. Only underline hyperlink text. This is really important, and I would argue, unless you've got a style manual that you're being forced to use that underline, and I don't think anybody does anymore, don't use underlining in any of your electronic documents unless it's a hyperlink. It will mess people up, whether they've got a vision problem or not. avoid all caps, particularly because of the way it reads. Go ahead and switch to, go ahead and hit the next slide. Click here. Let me tell you how the screen reader works. One of the things you can do, so when we read a web page, we don't read the web page, we skim the web page, right? We look at the headings, ding, 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 ding. We look for the hyperlinks, we see click here, and we go, what am I clicking here for? And then we're annoyed because we have to go back and look at it. So somebody who's using a screen reader does the exact same thing. They go, hey, give me a list of all the hyperlinks on the page, and it says, click here, click here, click here, click. Don't use click here. Tell them what information they're going to get. Your sighted users hate it too. Write really good text. Underline your hyperlinks. Don't count on color. Anybody studying web design? No, the designers all hate me. I taught web design because I say you've got to underline your hyperlinks in the text. You go, but I've got colors. No. Underline your text. That's the convention's been there since the 90s. Yet use the tools built into the programs. If you've got lists, use them. Don't just put an asterisk in front of it. If it's an unordered list, so the order doesn't matter, use a bulleted list. If the order matters, use a numbered or lettered list, right? Okay. Use headings. Headings are your friend, right? Even if they all look the same, mark them up. Because that's how somebody's going to speak. The screen reader user is also going to go, give me a list of all the headings on the page. Nest them. So heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, you can go back to a heading 2, but don't go from heading 2 to heading 5. Right? Paragraph from main body, and I think the headings also help with things like reading order. Okay? We've already talked about color contrast. This gives you a really good example of what we're talking about, but it's subtle. And if you are working towards making things accessible for somebody who's got a color vision problem, you aren't going to be able to see it sometimes. Right? So like black text on a red background. I taught at Texas Tech, that's where I learned the web design. I put, anybody familiar with Texas Tech? Red and black? Yep, guns up. That was nice to see. All right, pay attention to the color contrast. We're supposed to use AA. If you can, use AAA. WebAIM will tell you what to use. The larger text you can get by with a little less contrast. Okie doke. This just gives you an idea of the color matrix. We're not go look at this later. Go ahead. Yeah, so this is an example with color vision, right? You've got a pink one here that means something. We don't know what it means. Can you tell the difference on this one? Right. This is why you don't use color for hyperlinks too. You can, but that's why the underlining is so important, because it's hard to see the difference. Make sure things can print in grayscale, and that's a great way. If you print it in grayscale, or okay, don't kill the tree. Bring it up in preview for grayscale, right? All right, go ahead. Color in charts, label things, right? So don't just use the colors, actually label them here. Numbers are your friend, makes it easier. If you really dig into accessibility, you can set it up so the numbers are usable for screen readers. Go ahead. I got told I had 5 minutes, so I'm just going a little fast. Images are really important alternative text, right? You probably wondered, how the hell do people with the screen reader, how do they read the images? The answer is there's something called alternative text. And it's text that's attached to the image, usually through HTML, that says, here's what the image is. So if it's the Auburn University logo, the alt text would be Auburn University logo. The alternative text is really important, particularly if you're using an image as a hyperlink. If you go through, and I have on social media pages, most people do not bother to write alternative text. Your job is to help people understand, to fix that. Facebook will write alternative text. It will not always write good alternative text though, so you've got to check it. Instagram can be kind of finicky. if you've got text that you're doing a website or something like that, or you've got something in an email and it needs to be, and it doesn't really matter. So you've got like a pretty little, I don't know, a nice circle that's decorative that doesn't actually mean anything. You can mark it as decorative. So if you're into HTML, alt equals, and then a pair of quotation marks. Screen readers gets it, okay?
But also, don't put a whole lot of text in your images. A single word's fine, but an entire save the date card with all the information about the event in the image, you need to put that information as real text down below.
What he said.
It's a bit hard in Instagram, but that's when you're going to have to do the alternative text.
Right, and this is where the Facebook alternative text really falls short, other than when it gets it wrong, is it will take the text that's this long and put it in alt text. We don't want that. Let's see,
Yeah, I saw one of those today. A student organization had a picture and it said, you know, Monday from 2 to 4 and Bell 3 from 5 or whatever, and RSVP at Auburn, whatever. And then down below it was like, see you Monday. And if somebody couldn't see that picture, they have no idea where it is, when it is, what it's for, how they RSVP. So I put all that information in below so that it can be read.
So we're going to talk about another type of caption, but captions on images are really useful. Right, so we're talking about this text that goes with the image, as opposed to the other type of captions that we have with video, like these. How many people use closed captions on a regular basis? And I won't ask, but I'm going to bet most of you hear perfectly fine. And that is true of the overwhelming majority of caption users. We use captions all the time, particularly since about 2016, when Facebook started making videos autoplay, and people started turning off the sound. Closed caption is the text version of the audio content, and this is really important. That means it's not just the text, right? So if I'm doing a talk, and you were captioning this, just the text is probably fine. But if I've got music playing in the background, which would be a bad idea, but if I have music playing in the background to set the stage, you'd want to have that caption, right? Think about the sounds you need when you watch a scary movie and how you understand the movie, and what happens if all you got was the text. I mean, all you got was the speech, right? The creaking floor, the door opening, and not understanding why the person's going. Captions are more than just words. YouTube, Panopto, both do great captions. They are not perfect, which is why YouTube captions used to be called craptions. That's actually a term in academia. You've got to edit them. Both of them make editing captions really easy. Both of them will let you export those caption files to use in other programs. Transcripts are great. If you didn't know this, you can take an MP3 file with the voice and run it through Word, the online version of Word, and it will crank out a transcript for you and even do speaker identification. I teach podcasting. My students are like, you mean it will transcribe the interview? Yeah. Complete the time codes if you want. Go ahead. I encourage you to go back and look at this. We're going to cruise on through that slide. Audio description, this is like the biggest problem ever, because it's making video accessible for somebody who is visually impaired. Audio descriptions basically are a description of what's going on screen, typically a different voice. They're required under AA standards. That is going to be the biggest challenge for people to meet, because folks like YouTube do not have a way to do that except having a second version of the video. Panopto has a second audio track that you can switch to. If you want a really nice example, obviously you've got The Lion King. Any Marvel fans? Okay, you ever watch Daredevil? Okay, if you got Disney streaming, fire up the first episode of Daredevil, go up to the captions, where you turn on the captions, turn on audio description, and then don't look at the screen and listen to the descriptions. They're magnificent, right? But it's describing what's going on the screen, okay? Forms and labels. You've got a bunch of stuff that's got to get done on this. Most of the time you're going to be worried about this if you're a web designer. So we're going to skip this slide. Provide instructions before the form begins. There's a great sample of somebody with a screen reader going through and talking about a form that he's using. And at the end of it said, he has the form, and he's trying to figure out what the hell the form is, and at the bottom it says, here are the instructions for filling out the form. You're like, I just spent 5 minutes trying to figure out the form. If they've given me the instructions first, I'll add your sighted users. They want the instructions first, too. All right, go ahead and let's keep going. PDFs, a big issue. If you're starting off in Word or a Microsoft document, which is where most people start off, put in all the accessibility hooks like good quality hypertext, headings, and stuff like that in there, make your tables in there, and use save as to PDF, and most of your work in Acrobat's going to be done. Do not print a PDF. And if you're putting stuff up on the website, if you can do it in HTML, do it in HTML. Avoid the PDF. They are not your friend. Okay?
And you can have it in two formats, like have a web page, but if you want the printable version, have a PDF. But PDF should be the only way you're displaying it.
So this is a whole bunch of the challenges, which I encourage you to look at. A lot of this is stuff faculty are going to be freaking out over right about now. I'm a faculty member, and I know what I'm talking about most of the time with this stuff anyway. Go ahead. There are a bunch of existing efforts. So we've got the AU Digital Accessibility Working Group. OCM started talking about this over a year ago. Video is using UDoIt for Canvas, so if you've got something that's being done through Canvas, that'll help. There's a knowledge base reiterating the DOJ requirements. Accessibility Toolkit is going to be really useful. Pause, which is put out by Vigio, is really geared towards faculty, but I got to tell you, it's a great thing to think about. One of the things I would encourage you, do y'all do style guides for any of your stuff? Like stuff you're putting out? Okay, so if you're in a, start thinking about, if you've got people managing social media accounts, give them a list of things to check before they publish, and that'll help. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure I took more than 5 minutes. Welcome to my class. Okay. Yep, and then we got a bunch of resources. WAVE is on webaim.org. Webaim.org, if you're really interested in this stuff, is a great site. It'll show you how people use screen readers, all sorts of cool stuff, and then you've got a bunch of other stuff as well. And I think we got one more slide, is that right?
You can skip through that. Yeah, so mainly for you guys, just thinking about your content, your websites, your social media, the mass emails you're sending out. Take a minute, pause before you publish, and check for those things, the alt text, the captions, the color contrast, all of that. And if you see something in your courses, that's not accessible, come let us know. We want to work together to try to fix it. They gave us 2 years to implement, but we're still not ready, and every other higher education institution is in the same boat. So we want to work together to try to fix the problems, so you can bring that to our attention. And if you have any questions along the way too, feel free to reach out to any of us and we'll help you with your content.
And because you guys are going to be re-electing everybody in April, you're going to have to make sure your entire election process is accessible. So that's something to start thinking about now. That's a big process.
Just, I want to, if anybody's done anything in architecture, right? If you think about taking a 1940s building and making it accessible for somebody with a wheelchair, that's a pain, right? If you build the building now, you'd make it accessible. If you're building new stuff digitally, make it accessible rather than trying to go back and retrofit it.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we just say from today forward, start creating accessible material. We have our contact info on the last slide. Are there any questions that you guys have right now?
I actually have one question.
Sure.
I know you mentioned elections, but we have elections coming up, and a lot of the major candidates will change Instagram handles, like their campaign slogan. Does everything on that Instagram have to be compliant as well? Because it doesn't technically, it's not from the university, but also it's representing SGA.
Yeah, I think best practice would be that it does, because you're trying to reach the Auburn student body, right, to vote for you, and we don't want to exclude anybody with disabilities. So if you're acting on behalf of the university as a representative, as a candidate, I would make all that content accessible. And one point that we talked about too was that this does not apply to in-person things. So like if you have a handout at your meeting, like that's not digital accessibility. I mean, it should still follow like universal design and best practices, but like that falls outside. Same with the in-person presentation. So the lecture or the in-class presentation doesn't have to be accessible, but as soon as it's posted on Canvas, now it's a digital resource. It does have to be accessible. So.
Are there any other questions?
All right, well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you all so much. Would anyone else like to utilize open forum at this time? Okay, sorry, I thought you had your hand raised for a second. Okay, we will now go into the approval of the minutes. I resent out the minutes this morning with some corrections, but are there any corrections to the minutes that were sent out this morning? All right, seeing there are none, the minutes are now marked as approved and corrected, and we will now move into reports from our officers, beginning with the president.
Hey guys, good to see you, and freshman centers, it's good to have you all in the room as well. I want to welcome you guys here to your first meeting. Happy to have you. A few updates for me. I had 2 different trustee meetings today. Both of them went really well. We talked about a couple different things that I've been talking to you guys about. North End Zone project, South End Zone expansion, Hayfield lot, kind of all of those things, and a couple other exec goals were the topics that we covered. Also talked with one of them a lot about the work that Giles and your committee are doing with AI and y'all's resolution, and they were super supportive of that, which is awesome. So you are doing some awesome work, and they said to keep it up. So let us know how we can help you guys, and we'll bring everything that we can to them so that they can help us too. So keep bringing us things. Scooters, we've got a couple meetings this week to discuss that. We've got a feedback meeting tomorrow to send out a survey to some students. We're going to try to send out a random survey to 800 students at Auburn to ask them their thoughts about scooters, and then we've got a couple meetings to get the wheels-free zones on campus moving and get some policies changed so we can do that. For the rest of the week, I've got a meeting with Richard Glenn, the Chief of Staff of Auburn, and Dr. Roberts. So if you have anything that you'd like me to bring to that, please do. I've got a couple of exec goal reports that I'm going to be bringing to them, and then also a couple of student organizations brought me some feedback that they want me to ask, so I'm going to bring that too. So if there's anything that you guys have from your colleges or areas that you want me to share, please let me know, reach out, and I would love to bring it. In terms of service opportunities, a couple organizations have reached out to us with opportunities for our students at SGA to get plugged into things. One of those being Deep Bend Food Drive. So if you're interested in volunteering and stuff like that, or have any interest at all, feel free to come up to me after or reach out to me, and I would love to share that information with you guys. But thank you, and feel free to reach out. We'll be in the office all week, usually in the afternoon, so just feel free to swing by. Thank you all.
Thank you, and now for our treasurer.
Hey y'all, so first off, we had a record number of ratings sold this semester, so we're super excited about that. That program just keeps growing. So if you haven't gotten a ring yet, you can look in the spring. And then I have a meeting with Kelly Shoemaker this Thursday. So she is a CFO, but also she's over business administration, which means she has a lot of niche things under her. So like any feedback y'all would have about like the Laurel or the restaurant that's on top of the Laurel or the Auburn Hotel or Aricia or anything like that, that would go to her. So y'all let me know if y'all ever have anything you need to say about that. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Haley. Now for outreach.
Hey y'all, hope everybody has had a good week, even after another devastating loss on Saturday. I'm still recovering, but anyways, there's my phone number. Please, I haven't put it up there in a couple weeks, but please text me if you have anything, or email me, call me if you have any questions, or anything that you'd like to share. I'd love to hear from you all. So please utilize that. But second off, I just sent the QR code to GroupMe, but please go fill out the Heyday feedback form. Amelia and her team did such a great job. There's ways we're always looking to, just improve upon and continue working on Heyday and make it a better experience for all students. So please go fill that out. That'll be super helpful for her and her team. I had a meeting this past week. It was on Friday with kind of collaboration between Auburn Global, ISO, Graduate School, and SGA, just talking about the information that's available to international students about housing. And that was really awesome. Got to kind of talk about what they discussed at their general body meeting. I'm super excited. We're going to set up a meeting with the community housing coordinator at Auburn just to talk about kind of the information that's released to international students and just how they can be better informed about the housing process. Also, okay, November 12th from 8 to 10 a.m. we're having Movies for Mayor and Coffees with a Cop by the Albee statue. So please pull up to that, come with some coffee and talk to Mayor Ryan Anders and some people from Auburn Police Department, because that's going to be super awesome. Just an opportunity to interact with local officials. We'd love to see you all there. Then also Heyday team just had Heyday, and they're also putting on Creed Day on November 19th, which is going to be super fun. We're having a massive Creed birthday card, so please come to that and celebrate. And then last of all, so I have my monthly breakfast with the mayor this upcoming Monday. And that's a great place just to share student feedback related to the city and just kind of hear from him also. So would love y'all any feedback to share. Please let me know. We got our phone number. But all the best. Have a good week.
Thank you, Vera. Now for Chief of Staff.
Okay, so I did not put this up there, but Freshman Forum is in full swing, and it's been so awesome getting to see them at all their meetings and doing all the fun things. I did want to say, if y'all ever want to come visit them, have an initiative you want to come speak to them about, get some feedback, they are very open to having people come and speak. So if y'all ever want to come, just reach out to us and let us know, because they would love to hear from you. And then I also have new marketing initiatives up on here. Some feedback that we've gotten is that kind of the biggest gap between SGA and students are that they don't really know what we do or how we can help them. So we have a few things going on trying to bridge that gap. One of those being, tweaking with the name, but Fun Fact Fridays right now. So things that SGA has done on campus in the past. So things like the rec or mobile tiger cards, things like that we're going to try and highlight so that students can recognize what SGA has done on campus. So if y'all have any thoughts on that or anything that you'd like included in that, please let me know. Also, another thing we're going to start doing is a monthly recap of kind of what's been going on in SGA that month, focusing a little less so on the things like events that we have and more so on the meetings that we're having with administrators and initiatives that we're working on. We want to make sure that y'all are included in that. Kind of our system for it with how we're getting cabinet is we're going to pull that information from our meeting minutes. So I'm going to try to kind of get that information when I'm here listening to y'all's reports. So if y'all could keep that in mind when you're giving your reports, that I'm going to be kind of taking that information to think about including in the monthly recap. Or if you have something that you just really want included, you can also let me know. But that was all for me. Thank you all.
Thank you, Madeline. Now for initiatives.
Hey y'all, first thing, phone number and email, y'all please reach out. I'd love to chat about anything. Core curriculum listening sessions, y'all heard me talk about this all semester. We're going under a core curriculum review right now, looking at the core classes that we take at Auburn, what's required and how they're required, and what counts as that requirement and all the things. So we're doing listening sessions, starting that up here soon. They're a lot for students. I just sent the link into the all SGA group meeting. So y'all please look at that. If there's time you can go, please go. Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be free snacks. So maybe if you're just hungry one day and want to go get something to eat. But seriously, this is feedback's really needed, and for future students of Auburn will be taken into effect. So that'd be pretty cool to look back and say, like, hey, I voiced my opinion, and core curriculum looks different because of it. So y'all please look at those. Next thing, rec feedback. If you went last week, some of y'all I know got the opportunity to go to Cabinet Direct with us, got to tour around, maybe anything you saw, or maybe just been to the rec in general, working out or playing basketball or something. If there's any feedback that you have, cool. Think of something later, shoot me a text. Or couldn't find me after. Next thing, what's the QR code? If y'all could scan this QR code and fill it out. This is a PhD candidate here at Auburn. He's been doing, called like a heat map of Jordan Hare Stadium and looking at different sections of the stadium and how heat affects them and how they're hotter than other parts. And then he's working to send out with the athletic departments and then hopefully do some improvements to the stadium so that when it's August and it's a million degrees outside and we're watching our Auburn Tigers, we're not sweating as bad as student section. So y'all fill that out and that's going to be great. And then last piece of feedback, would love show of hands. Who is planning on going to the Mercer game? It is the Saturday before we get out for Thanksgiving break. Raise it high. Good. Cool. Perfect. Appreciate that. That's all I got. War Eagle.
And I'll send the link to those listening sessions in tomorrow's recap as well. But now for committee reports, beginning with academic affairs.
Jones Engineering. Happy to have y'all freshman senators here with us tonight. This past week we had a meeting with Dr. DeGotti. He talked about what academic affairs is working on with regards to AI. It was a really beneficial meeting. We're looking forward to adding some additional projects to what we're doing there. We also had a meeting with Willis Orr earlier tonight, talking about how we're going to try to incorporate AI into Safety Week and particularly Cybersecurity Day. I think that's all from us. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Giles. Now for AEO.
Connor Kosam, hey y'all. So we're just continuing all of our projects, like the graduate student orientation and also the study rooms. But something I just wanted to come up here and ask is that like a lot of our projects are very based on like what the student feedback is. So if you have any feedback at all, just about like anything about like accessibility or even about like how to get students more engaged in SGA, that we can work with like Madeline or work with any side of SGA, so please come to us and don't hesitate to give us any ideas, big or small. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Jada. Now for budget and finance.
Hail business. We're having our final budget hearings for the spring and summer tomorrow night. So we're going to be kind of going over with my committee tonight about different cuts that we're looking at, different things we need to get passed. Just kind of on average, we've seen about 75% of the budgets being allocated in the fall. So we have to cut about 25% of our goal. And so we're not really sure how long it's going to take, but we're going to get it done tomorrow. We went over our, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but we got down an extra $15,000 2 weeks ago. So yeah, everything's looking good. We have some more current orders coming across the floor from our fall budgets. And yeah, then we'll get those spring and summer budgets finished up here in the next 2 weeks, and then just continuing to stay in touch with our other organizations. And yeah, so that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Now for code of laws.
Hey guys, Phil at large. We're really excited to have a freshman here again. We had a great meeting last week with Brad. Talked about a lot of code regarding some different aspects of the organization's code, lots of SAPs and other things with the finance process. So we'll be continuing to work on that. In the upcoming weeks, and then probably attendance code regarding Senate and Cabinet. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Now for student affairs.
Lord at large. Hey y'all. Still working on the patio project with student affairs, and UPC is playing a big role in this, and they've asked me if there's anyone that would like to sing or sign up to sing, or you know, a friend, someone maybe outside of SGA that would like to be a part of that. Please let me know. I can send you the sign-up sheet. Is awesome. Seeing Owen's being volunteered, so that's really exciting. Maybe that'll be SGA's event. Will be the present singing. Sound good, everyone? Awesome. Glad that's resolved. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for the patio project. Student Affairs Committee is really going to shoot for the stars, and we're going to work on the football game day music set list. Don't y'all? So if you have any suggestions, things you like, things you don't like, just let me know. If there's like, you know, maybe you like something about the run out that's really awesome, and maybe you really hate the song that we play at run out. That's been a take on student affairs. And maybe there's like, you want some more country involved because we do live in Alabama. That's awesome. We've been thinking about that. So yeah, if y'all have any song suggestions for game day, literally just let me know. But yeah, that's all we're working on. Where are we all?
Thank you, Camilla. Madeline isn't here, so I'm gonna do attendance, so just give me 1 second. Okay. Senator Lord?
Here.
Senator Wisdom?
Here.
Senator Poole?
Here.
Senator Bolton?
Here.
Senator Massey? Senator Osba?
Here.
Senator Blinko?
Here.
Senator Bowman?
Here.
Senator Campos? Senator Congo?
Here.
Senator Connor?
Here.
Senator Duro?
Here.
Senator Eskew?
Here.
Senator Ford?
Here.
Senator Hill?
Here.
Senator Herring?
Here.
Senator Holliday?
Here.
Senator Hasso?
Here.
Senator Jones?
Here.
Senator Story?
Here.
Senator Perdue? Senator Pritchett?
Here.
Senator Roberts?
Here.
Senator Robertson?
Here.
Senator Scott?
Here.
Senator Smith? Senator Stanley? Senator Sturry? Senator Troutman?
Here.
Senator Berner?
Here.
Senator Ward?
Here.
Senator Watson? Senator Wise? Senator Wolf? Perfect. Okay. All right, now for our liaison reports, beginning with the Honors Congress.
Going to Honors Congress, I just want to put this on your radar. We had an issue. We had reserved the back porch of Cater, and someone on AU Involve, I guess, reserved the back porch of Cater for call-outs. It's like a separate designation. So kind of had an interesting conflict there. It ended up resolving just fine. But I was just thinking maybe if we could put the word out there that that's an issue, and I think maybe if they reserve it for call-outs, they should also reserve the upper quad because, you know, it's overlooking. So just a thought, but yeah, just want to put that on y'all's radar that that happens.
Thank you. Now for BSU.
Clark, BSU, no report.
Thank you. Now for ASBA.
First, I want to thank those that came out to visit the BRC. There were several of you guys that came out and got the quick 30-second tour. And if I were to ask you where the BRC is, you still don't know where it is, then shame on you. Being a leader here and not knowing how to answer that question, feel better to ask you. So there's still an opportunity to go and find it as well. So, but also this next week or the following week after, we're doing a pull-up competition in conjunction with ROTC at the Rec and on Haley Concourse. It is a fundraiser and there is a cash prize if you do the most. I think last year someone did 32 pull-ups to win it, which is a lot, but it will be a lot of fun if you can support that. Another thing is if you want to do those, either all of Operation Iron Rep, like you've heard me mention before, which is a big ask because that's Tuesday through Saturday, 151 miles over Thanksgiving. You have to email me by Halloween, or more doable is that Saturday morning. We do the last 3 miles from University Station, which is a trailer park on right down MOK Road. And then we come into Jordan Hare at the very end with the game ball. If you want to do those last 3 miles with us, there'll be a lot of people out there. But also just shoot me an email by next Friday. That way I know you're going to be there and I can send you any updates on that as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for ROTC. All right, ISO.
King ISO. I just want to say a big thank you to Vera for setting up that meeting with Auburn Global and the graduate school. And it went really good, and I think we're going to see some really great improvements with the accessibility for information for international students. Main issue being right now is a lot of that information you don't get until you're a student at Auburn, but it would be really nice information to have before you apply.
Also, coming up this Friday is another general body meeting. The theme of that meeting is going to be financial management. So we're going to be teaching international students some basic like financial management strategies. And then also we're going to hear their feedback about how Auburn can be better for them in terms of finances. Because international students, I don't know if you guys are aware, but one of the rules is they have to have an on-campus job, whether they're a graduate student working under a professor or they're an undergraduate student and they have to work out maybe the library or something like that. So we're going to hear feedback about that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now on to legislation. We have current orders of business beginning with PSSB 25 1013-01 through 0801, brought to you by Senator Bolton.
Bolton at large asked for the approval of the following: the allocation of $45,864.50 to lead Auburn for the fall 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories. And I move to amend this budget by striking $4,750 and inserting $6,200 for lead experiential learning trips, with the additional $1,450 coming from unallocated student activity fee funds. There were some issues during the final budget hearings, and we're just trying to get that sorted out.
A motion has been made to amend this legislation. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any debate? All right, we will now move into a vote on this amendment. This will be a hand vote, so if you're voting yes on the amendment, raise your hand. All right, if you're abstaining, and if you're voting no. All right, the yeses have it, and this amendment is adopted. Now moving back into this legislation at hand, is there any debate on this? All right, seeing none, we will now move into a vote on Canvas. If anyone is still having problems with Canvas, let us know and we'll do a hand vote, but I think it's back up and should be working fine. Is everyone's Canvas working? Okay, still waiting on about 7 responses. All right, waiting on 2 more. Is anyone having technical difficulties? Y'all refresh and make sure that went through. Sorry.
We're still waiting on 2 more, so we all just refresh again, sorry. If anyone's having, like, trouble, don't be afraid to speak up. I know there's been a lot of technical difficulties today. If you did it on your phone, maybe try that again, because I know that sometimes has some difficulties a little bit more than your computer. Okay, just one more. Okay, that's still majority. So the yeses have it and the bill has been adopted. So now for PSSB 25101302, brought to you by Senator Howe.
Hail business. Sorry you couldn't make it tonight, so I'm gonna step in for him. I ask for approval of the following: allocation of $307,267.50 for the Student Government Association budget for the 2025 fall semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing there is no debate, we will now move into a vote on Canvas. Much faster this time. Okay, looking for one more. The yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101303, brought to you by Senator Perdue.
Purdue Business asks for approval of the following: the allocation of $168,742.50 for the student organizations budget for the 2025 fall semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing there is no debate, we will now move into a vote on Canvas. All right, the yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101304, brought to you by Senator Robertson.
Robertson Pharmacy, I ask for approval of the following: the allocation of $109,802.50 to service programs for the fall 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown: the allocation of $15,000 to Auburn University Dreammakers, the allocation of $38,500 to the food drive, the allocation of $34,700 to Impact, and the allocation of $21,602.50 to general service programs. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
It is moved and seconded to adopt this bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing there is no debate, we will now move into a vote on Canvas. yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101305, brought to you by Senator Wolf.
Wolf Agriculture asks for approval of the following. Allocation of $187,608.49 to student media for the fall 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. The amount of $47,639.49 will be allocated to Eagle Eye TV. The amount of $16,990.50 will be allocated to Auburn Circle. The amount of $89,240.50 will be allocated to Eagle Eye Mirada. And the amount of $33,738 will be allocated to Weagle 91.1 FM radio. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing no debate, we will now move into a vote on canvas. The yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101306, brought to you by Senator Troutman.
Troutman, College of Forestry, Wildlife, Environment, ask approval of the following: the allocation of $417,707.50 to the University Program Council for the fall of 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. A motion to pass this bill is written.
Is there a second? Second. It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? Seeing none, we will now move into a vote on canvas. All right, the yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101307, brought to you by Senator Blanco.
Blanco, CEDC, I ask approval of the following. Allocation of $72,692.50 to the International Student Organization for the fall 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? Second. It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? Senator Jones.
Jones, generic. Do we know what the reasoning is for the cost of the peace dinner being $49,000?
I mean, I yield on. So I feel liaison here. The amount of food served there, I think we represent 20 different countries and we have to provide an amount of food. Or last year we had, I think, 1,100 people attend, so we have to provide the amount of food for that many people.
Also, last time they were underprepared, not underprepared, but just didn't have they didn't order a ton of pizza. And so this is just compared to last year, this is the number that they felt right, and we also felt prepared to give as well. So, yeah.
Is there any further debate? All right, seeing none, we will now move into a vote on canvas. All right, the yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. Now for PSSB 25101308, also brought to you by Senator Blanco.
Blanco CDC, ask approval of the following allocation of $43,042.50 to the Black Student Union for fall 2025 semester. This amount will be allocated among the following categories as shown. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? It is moved and seconded to adopt the bill just read. Is there any debate? All right, seeing none, we will now move into a vote. All right, the yeses have it, and this bill has been adopted. That is all for legislation tonight, so now I'm going to move into announcements from me. First of all, freshman senators are here, yay! We're so excited to have y'all, and thank y'all to everyone that greeted or sat in interviews. It was a great week, and we're so excited to have them. I am going to put y'all on the spot now and make you stand up and introduce yourself. I'm going to start on this side of the room and then go across.
Do y'all want a microphone or?
I'm loud. Okay. I'm Bryant Sally.
Oh, I'm Caroline Dolan. I'm Sarah Stokes McReynolds.
I'm Emily Ingram.
I'm Emery Wadman.
Myers Leah.
I'm Micaiah White.
I'm Edward Davis.
Philip Wilson.
I'm Jackson Kelly.
I'm Keener Leonard. Henry Harrison.
Okay, awesome. Yay! We're so excited to have y'all. They're going to be staying after for a quick little orientation, so if y'all want to stay and meet them, that would be awesome. And then Halloween Senate is next Monday. Dress up with your committees. I know a couple of y'all, Jada and Madeline, talked about dressing up together. And then freshmen, y'all can all dress up together as well. Liaisons, do whatever y'all want. Campaign registration is now open for spring elections. So if y'all are wanting to run for Senate again or know anyone that wants to run, those registrations are now open. And then we're also going to have 2 open houses, October 28th and November 5th at 6 p.m. in the ACLC. These are required. I know there's 2 of them and they're on a random day of the week. But it's really good for people that want to run for these positions to come and be able to talk to someone that's been in them, especially since some colleges only have 1 representative or 2. We can't really have come to one or come to the other. So if you can't come to both of those, please email me and Madeline an excuse. And then they're also going to be tabling the next few weeks. This is optional, but please still sign up. It's like an hour on the concourse. And this is just to reach a whole other group of people that maybe don't have anyone in SGA to encourage them to run. But that's all from me, and so this meeting is now adjourned at 8:35.
Yeah, it's like out there.